Hi, so this is a review of the Cordoba C12 Classical Guitar, and what I'll do is I'll talk about the guitar a little bit and some of the things I like and some criticisms as well, and then what I'll do is I'll take the camera off the tripod and do a close-up of the instrument so you can take a close look at the detail and the workmanship and everything like that. So the Cordoba C12 is a lattice brace guitar, so it has a crisscross kind of instead of the fan brace, offering in most cases more volume, but that's not necessarily true. But a lattice brace guitar, this one is a cedar top, it also comes in a spruce, but this is a cedar. Indian rosewood back and sides, and it also has this really nice strip of maple down the middle. So really nice lining, and like I said, I'll do a close-up of it later. Other features on this instrument are the raised fingerboard. So let me just take the guitar in a little close so you can see what that means. So you can see this elevation of the fingerboard here. And I'll talk about that in just one second. But that's another main feature of the instrument. So I've reviewed a couple of other Cordoba guitars, the C9 parlor, and I'm going to be doing the C10 parlor after this. And this is the more expensive one, and I've listed the price from various sellers on the post, but in general this is above the $2,000 range in Canadian. In American that might be a little bit less. So first impressions from this instrument is that it's very, very loud. It's as loud as my instrument. So I have like a $7,000 luthier made guitar. Now you can't compare this instrument to like a $7,000 instrument that's been made by a luthier, but you don't really have to. I mean, you just have to kind of think about what the differences are. And part of the luthier made guitars is of course a quality of workmanship, and things like the tuners will cost a lot more. There's just more expensive materials used, but also that it's a piece of art. One person has built a piece of art, and when you have a factory-made guitar or what they call maybe a boutique workshop with a couple of luthiers, it's going to be different because the individual amount of attention will not be necessarily given. But I've been impressed with Cordoba guitars recently, and they're the #1 brand I've been recommending if you're going to be buying something under the $2,000 range or under the $2,500 range. And this instrument, like I said, I think this one keeps up with my guitar no problem. It's quite loud, which is great, and the idea that it's a lattice brace, there's just not that many lattice brace guitars available from manufacturers rather than luthiers. The raised fingerboard is also very, very important. Now, that said, so I really like this instrument. I think it's a fantastic deal for the price, and I highly recommend it. But at the same time, just a couple of things about it that I didn't like as much. I think the raised fingerboard could be more raised. I'll compare it to mine in a second, but in general, the raised fingerboard on this one just isn't very high. So that's what it is on this instrument. Let me just grab mine for a second, I'll show you. Here's my guitar. So you can see on mine, it's quite a bit more raised. Now, that means a lot more bend in the wood and whatnot, but in general, it's just more raised. So that's fine. I still really, really like the fact that they have a raised fingerboard on their factory-made guitar. I think that's an essential option for the modern guitarist. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. I really appreciate that they have it. I think they could have gone further with it. Instrument sounds great. Like I said, super loud. So, some other things. Or, let's see. So This instrument keeps up with mine. I don't think it's quite as refined of a sound. Maybe just, I'm not sure what you can hear through the microphones. I mean, this room is pretty reflective, so it's going to sound pretty bright. Maybe the tone is held back a little bit by the polish that they use. Like on a modern, on like a Luther-made guitar, you have a French polish usually. On this one, it's going to be pretty thick polish, but then again, I mean, the durability's nice, I guess. So maybe that's holding it back. I think the tone is really good. And it's well balanced across the strings. It's maybe just not quite as refined as an upper level instrument. But I mean, that's $4,000 more for something that's barely noticeable. It'll be important to professional guitarists, but for the average guitarist, I think that this is going to do the job for sure. In a way, I would call this like a blue collar guitar. It's like it does the job really, really well. It doesn't have those extra touches maybe, but it does the job really well. So like I said, really nice balance. As far as playability, it's easy to play, has tons of pop to it. That's the best thing about this instrument compared to other instruments in this price range. I think this one has a ton of pop to the sound, so it'll project really nicely in concert, and it's just really loud and full sounding. The playability is great. I think it feels really good, but there is a truss rod inside that you can adjust with an Allen key. So a truss rod that goes through the neck, so you can adjust the action. So right now the action's a little high on this instrument, but you could adjust the truss rod and just like even that out a little bit, which would be nice. Luther-made guitars generally don't come with truss rods, but I mean, I'm a pretty big supporter of them because you can correct relief to the neck and whatnot. So if you don't have a truss rod, it's pretty tough to do that. So what I'll do is I'll do a close-up of the instrument. Let me just grab my guitar. So just again, that sound. I actually think that this instrument is a bit louder than mine. So this is my Marcus Dominelli, and it's I love this instrument. It's a lattice brace guitar, cedar and walnut on the back. I don't know if you can tell through the microphones because it's always a little bit weird listening to these things through videos, but to me this sounds a little bit smoother, a little bit more elegant in its sound, but actually like the other one, the Cordoba, has just as much volume, so that's pretty impressive because I consider my instrument to be pretty loud as far as like an upper end instrument goes. So but maybe this one's just a little bit more refined. But really, if I didn't compare them, I don't think you would notice the difference. It's really just when you have two instruments next to each other, you'll really notice. So let me take the camera off the tripod and do a close-up of the Cordoba guitar. So here's a close-up of the instrument, and I'll get really in close. It'll be pretty reflective in this room, but hopefully this will give you an idea. So here's the label. And the rosette. Really nice rosette. Quite like them. Let's see if I can focus on that better. There we go. And let's go back, take a look at the bridge here. It's a 6-hole bridge. Be nice to see factory guitars upgrade to 12-hole bridges. Although the durability of 12-hole bridges is probably not quite as good. Here's the headstock. And the tuners. So the tuners are pretty good on this instrument, I have to say. On like a Luther-made guitar like mine, the tuners cost like $500, and so they're a little bit better. But I mean, these ones are definitely sufficient for your use. Let me flip the guitar around. See if I get rid of that glare. There's going to be lots of glare. pretty though. Gives you an idea. I also really like this trim around the edge here. Very pretty. So that is the Cordoba C12, and overall I think it's a really great instrument and you'd be lucky to get one. If you ever decide to make the jump to a more expensive instrument, it's a lot more money. You get some nice special touches though, as I explained, but nevertheless, this is a nice instrument. There's the raised fingerboard one more time. Okay, thanks very much, and look forward to the review of the C10 Parlor coming up next.